Hello.
Hello.
We're all here to talk movies. I don't know what I'm
Oh,
doing.
really?
All right. I think I tracked down where we left off. Look, I think we haven't had a stream in almost a month.
Almost, yeah.
Almost a month. I gotta turn you up. On my end. I have you plenty loud on the stream, but I'm like, oh shit, you're way too quiet now. Fuck.
No, okay.
Do I have to pee already? I literally just want to pee, bro. Like, I swear to fuck.
Amazing.
I know. I fucking stupid shit off ass bladder. Shit ass? Shit off? Shit what? Shitty fucking shit fucking shit bladder. There you go.
Yeah.
Alright, do you want to talk about Prince of Darkness while I go pee?
Okay.
Do you
Prince
remember
of
enough?
Darkness.
It's either that or While the City Sleeps. You want to talk about While the City Sleeps while I go pee?
Okay.
Which one?
While the City Sleeps.
Alright, I'll be back.
While the City Sleeps is a movie. I just wanted to say that. Okay, so um was this one of the this is Fritz Lang, everyone. Um directed this movie. It's one of his later movies that he directed. It's 1950s film noir. It uh, has to do with the media. I love movies from that time about the media because it just shows how little things have changed. I mean, there's always somebody nowadays talking about how the media is lying to you and they're not being totally honest, and they're in it for views and in it for uh ad dollars and all that stuff. And it's just like, a lot of that issue existed just as much 100 years ago as it does today. And these movies like While the City Sleeps uh kind of talk about that a little bit. This I it's not really a proto slasher, but it has moments where like the camera follows a killer around. It's following the killer as he's like stalking his prey, so to speak. And that was something that in the 1950s was not really being done very much. So um I really liked that aspect of it because I feel like it kind of in some ways is one of the first examples of that of sorry, I was just talking about how uh it was one of the first examples that I can think of where the camera is really like showing you what the killer is doing and how the killer is like stalking its prey in a way that they then end up showing, or they end up doing very similar things with movies about stalkers and movies about slashers.
Okay, refresh my
So
brain. What's the premise of The City Sleeps again?
it's there's a killer
Okay.
on the loose, and this killer, by the way, it's you get to see that he has mother
Petting my
issues
cat right now.
and that He's like the
Oh, is this the one with
prototypical.
the stairwell shots and stuff that I kept commenting on?
Yes.
Okay, okay, I remember this now.
He's really your stereotypical serial killer. He fits the role of a serial killer quite well. But of course, this movie came out before that term was even coined,
They called
before
them
they even knew that
sequential killer,
these
something like that.
at that time
Sync with
maybe.
killer, sync with
But
killer. That's
but
what it's called.
before they even knew what they were looking for in terms of
Oh,
these serial killers, right?
yeah.
So that's another thing I find interesting about it is that they really depict what these killers are like in a way that even the cops at the time were not necessarily accepting as a valid theory of how to find these people and what
Right.
drives them and stuff like that. So that's a really interesting aspect of it.
I,
Vincent Price stars in this movie as an asshole.
oh, he plays those really well. To be fair, to be
Yeah,
fair.
he plays a guy who's taking over for uh I think it's his father who owns the media
Oh, let me
company,
get.
right? And his father passes away, and so he takes over, but he doesn't know what the hell he's doing. But it doesn't matter because he's got all the power and the money, so he still dictates what happens at the media company. So yeah,
Psycho came out in 1960, right?
yes,
4 years after While the City Sleeps.
that's what I'm saying. Like the tracking shots,
Yeah,
like maybe this isn't a proto slasher,
it
but the
feels
tracking shots are definitely, I feel like, something that was then borrowed and used in slasher
as
films.
the foremost expert
So,
on proto slashers. This is, in fact, on the proto slasher list.
oh, really?
And I didn't know it
Okay.
existed until we watched it
Um,
because some of the elements, like you said, are used in later slashers.
there's
Tracking
also a moment at the
shots.
end of the movie where I don't want to give too much away, but
I mean,
they
the shot
shoot.
where he looks over the railing down is like a direct shot from Psycho, which also influenced, or what that shot that gets used in Psycho, which also gets used in Halloween. So it's
Mhm.
like literally you can see the descendants like as you go. Anyway, sorry.
Um, there's a shot at the end of the movie where they're looking down on the city street as as the killer's trying to run away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there's all this hectic action taking place, like he's running in front of cars. The cars are crashing into into things on the sidewalk and stuff like that. It's like almost what you would expect from a typical action movie today,
Mm-hmm.
but this is the 1950s, and it was so extremely well choreographed for what it was at that time period. Uh, it's not the kind of thing you expect to see from that time period. It's not the kind of scene you expect to see from that time period. Maybe 20 years, 15 years later, when you hit the 1970s, um,
Sorry, chat.
late 1960s, then you've got cheaper cameras,
Right.
cheaper equipment you can afford to lose if it gets damaged or whatever. And that's why they started strapping those under the hood of cars. And
The cameras became lighter,
yeah,
which is the biggest thing.
yeah.
The Aeroflex
But
came out
like
with a much smaller camera, and it changed everything because they could strap it to bumpers and cars and move around with it in ways that you couldn't with big bulkier cameras in the past. You
this
know.
was like a shot from the window of a building on
Mm-hmm.
like the third or fourth floor or something, looking down at the street, and it was like a four-way stop, and it's just a really interesting shot. I think it's cool, but
I mean, and now
just for the time period,
tell
it's
me,
like today it wouldn't be great or amazing, but at the time, I think that's a big.
as the show's foremost uh, expert on noir films, is this a noir film?
Um, I think it borrows from noir, and
Is this a connecting
it
piece?
is.
Is this another?
I think it is technically considered a film noir, even though it
Do
was
you
in the
do you feel
1950s.
this is a strong enough link to connect noir to slasher films?
Yeah,
I
Yeah,
feel like the DNA is
because I
there.
think most people consider this a noir film,
Yeah.
and most people also, or I don't know, most people consider it a slasher, pro
Nobody,
slasher.
nobody but
But
me
that,
has proclaimed it a proto slasher before.
but it does have elements of the slasher in it, like it's specifically like just the way that it's shot.
I mean, we watched that one
And
movie where the only sequence in it that like was really slasher was we get to see through the eyes. It was like literally a shot they used in Halloween where you see through the eyes of the mask with the knife, which is literally
Mhm.
it's a Hammer film. I can't remember which one it was. We saw one of those Hammer films and it was Psycho something. It was called something with a psycho in it. I think. I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I can't
It also
remember
I think predates the movie
either.
Psycho by a few years. Anyway,
Hammer did
I
good stuff back then.
I will firmly stand by the city while the city sleeps being a proto
It was a
slasher.
Paranoiac. Is that
Paranoiac.
film?
That's right.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So not not what I thought it was. Whatever. All right.
But yes, While the
Mm,
City Sleeps, I think is a pretty damn good movie that people should see. Am I misremembering? I said it was Fritz Lang. Is it Fritz Lang?
while the city sleeps, I don't know. I can look it up 1 second. Here we go. It is Fritz Lang. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Which this is
Okay.
my fourth
1956.
long film I saw. While the City Sleeps, The Big Heat, M, and Metropolis.
I recommend it, especially.
Highly
Well,
recommend it. Very good movie.
I recommend it for a lot of different reasons. But yeah, like one of the things I started out talking about with this was the media aspect of it, because I was pointing out how a lot of the things that they depict in how the media works at this time
Mm-hmm.
are still true today.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of the aspects of the way the media works in that movie are still true today. So
Yeah. Yep. Yes. Exactly.
another good one for that would be Samuel Fuller's Power of the Press. It
You
was
know, guess
1940 something.
I'm pretty sure I have that on my DVR, and I haven't seen it yet. So,
Hell yeah, we should watch that. I love the last scene in it.
also, it's
Fantastic.
probably on Criterion, one of those. But yeah, if I have a TCM recording, I'll probably watch that just in case there's a bumper beginning and end.
It's also
Otherwise, it won't make a
available
difference.
from Indicator.
Yeah,
And
the problem is that box set is I have like everything except for two of the movies. I need the Crimson Kimono and that one. I had
well,
as a one
good
box set or
news, they
whatever.
sell the discs
I
separately.
know I'm gonna have to. I look. I don't have any money.
Oh, I know.
Here's the
But I'm
problem.
just saying
This week
now is a good time to
I
get
got
Indicator though, because the oh
heavy
hell yeah.
heavy metal parking lot on Blu-ray from Vinegar Syndrome. From 101 Films in the UK, I bought The Last Broadcast on Blu-ray. One of them fancy boxes, but it's not hard because 101 Films is cheap. But also from Vinegar Syndrome, I got Righting Wrongs. Oh, this is so good. Beautiful set, and it's 3 discs, and it has every cut of the movie in a booklet, and it's in a hard box. Anyway, that's why I don't have any money because I spent it all on other
Punk
movies.
rock sucks. Heavy metal rules.
That punk rock shit sucks. Heavy metal rules.
Fucking
Madonna can
Lieberman.
sucks dick. I mean, like, oh, I love Zebraman. He's the best. Love Zebraman.
Oh,
Okay,
God.
so back on track. Prince of Darkness.
Prince of Darkness, with Donald Pleasance. My brain almost skipped a beat there, but Donald Pleasance, I think, plays probably the most memorable role
Mm-hmm.
in the movie, because he's Donald Pleasance, and he's usually the best actor in anything he's in.
Yeah, pretty much. That pretty much sums it up. Yeah. Oh,
But I
shocker!
liked
He's
it.
the best character here or actor here.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I like that it's like, I remember you saying at the time we were watching, like, oh, shocker, another Siege film from John Carpenter.
I was gonna say that just now. You stole my fucking bit. Damn it. Guess what? Guess fucking what? This motherfucker John Carpenter, one of my favorite directors. I don't call him motherfucker, and it's an affectionate term in this case. This motherfucker John Carpenter makes 20 fucking movies, and like half of them are fucking remakes of the last 45 minutes of Rio Bravo. I wish I were making this up. His literal like first solo film, Assault on Precinct 13. That's just Rio Bravo, but only the last 45 minutes of Rio Bravo. The reason for the siege, but The Thing's a siege film. Prince of Darkness is a siege film. Prince of no, it's not Prince. Vampires, Ghosts of Mars, The Fog. What else? There's probably one more. I'm missing one. Village of the Damned to a point.
Almost like he's obsessed with a certain feeling that he got while watching that movie.
Exactly. He's obsessed with two things. The last 45 minutes of Rio Bravo and iconoclastic anti-heroes. None of his heroes are like the mold. You know what I mean? Kurt Russell wasn't an oiled up bodybuilder. I mean, he had physique, but he wasn't like Stallone or Dolph Lundgren or Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time, who were like the prototypical action heroes. And I think the biggest muscle guy he gets is Roddy Piper. But Roddy Piper is like, even in the world of wrestling, has been an iconoclastic, idiosyncratic person.
Mm-hmm.
And look at Jack Burton. Jack Burton is a stereotypical action hero, but he's incapable of actually backing up any of the shit he spits, which is why his sidekick does all the fucking work. He's so dense, he doesn't even realize he is a fucking sidekick. He thinks he's the fucking main character. And for the movie, he is the main character. But he's not the main character in the story, which is kind of a fascinating way. I don't think many movies do that. He's not the main character in the story, but he's the main character of the movie. Yeah? Starman, a fucking alien. I don't need to say much more than that. The Invisible Man is about a guy literally running from society. I mean, he is obsessed with these two things very specifically. And he's very good with those elements. Almost all his movies work with those elements. Sam Loomis is, by the way, Halloween is both a siege film with the gang of outlaws replaced with Michael Myers, and an iconoclastic anti-hero with Donald Pleasance as Dr. Loomis, who is clearly completely out of his fucking league when it comes to like dealing with Michael, and also at the same time the only person who knows Michael. So it's kind of like he's fighting against literally two forces here, society and Michael Myers. Anyway, he's obsessed with these two things. I love John Carpenter. I've written lots of papers on John Carpenter. He's obsessed with these two things specifically.
Prince of Darkness, I enjoyed. I don't know if it's like.
What's the premise?
My favorite.
We didn't talk about the premise at all.
Carpenter. Well, the premise is that they found that there was a fucking thing with
that green evil force. Yeah.
The green evil
that seemed to be worshipped in the past.
Yeah.
And its unearthing has caused a disruption in our world. And so all these possessed homeless people, because of course homeless people are always othered in these things, surround the church, led by Alice Cooper Bum. And that's the siege. So they're the evil outlaw gang from Rio Bravo this time. And what else?
There's only there was one scene,
and there's a mystery foretelling the back. There's a mystery with the dreams everyone seems to be sharing. And what did you not understand? I would love to talk about that.
When they fucking they were trying to escape or something, and they were trying to get through the window down to the alley, but the alley was blocked off on both ends, and they could see the alley was blocked off on both ends by the crazed
homeless people.
Othered homeless people,
Yeah.
The othered homeless people, yes. And I don't understand why at the point that you see it blocked off on both ends, you don't just stop right there and don't even try to get out of the window there, because clearly you're not going to be able to get anywhere from there.
Yeah.
I just, that whole scene felt needless to me. It's like, of course you're not going to be able to get away. All you're doing is creating a fucking scenario in which you can put somebody in peril momentarily, but
Yes.
not really in peril, because we all know they're going to get back. It's just
God forbid. That
a little
is
silly. It's a
that's
little
just
silly.
that's the way the movies go
And
sometimes.
I'm just
You're not
saying that,
wrong.
like,
You know, you're allowed to have this
it's, yes, it's
opinion.
just, it's one of those things that I consider maybe a small flaw in the film,
I don't know if it's a
which is why I
flaw.
wouldn't,
Maybe it's just a bunch of characters panicking, doing the
which
wrong
is why
thing.
I wouldn't consider it John Carpenter's finest, but it's
See,
still
for
a good
me,
John
I
Carpenter.
can look
It's like
past that kind
seven
of stuff because, like, I've met people during the crisis and they act stupidly. They act exactly how you don't think they should act.
fair.
So they panic, they jump out, and they go, "What do I do that for? Why did I do that fucking shit for? Shit." You know, like you know, people do that shit. They go, "Ah, fuck," and they fuck themselves, and then whatever, you know. So that's what happened. But now you can still have that complaint and still have that expectation on the characters, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's purely a taste aspect here.
One thing I did like about the movie was that the goop or whatever it is just starts taking over people in a way that reminded me a little bit of the stuff, but also of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. So I feel like it was definitely inspired by those, by at least Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The stuff probably was just a
I
coincidence,
think
but
I think it's I think because what happened. Body Snatchers inspired stuff. Stuff inspires stuff,
three,
and,
yeah,
and I think actually, much more likely happened is Body Snatchers inspired both those movies. It's probably more likely, but yeah, you can never know. Oh, the stuff
yeah,
is so good. We got to watch it again just so we can talk about it in the show again.
hell yeah.
I think maybe we've already covered it. I don't fucking remember. We've been doing this show for so long now. I don't fucking remember what we have and have not watched. Like shit, motherfuck. Next, did we watch Day of the Dead? No, that was me and someone else. Um. Oh, you know what we watched before that? We watched Furious again. I forgot about that. We watched Furious again with Eric. Remember that?
Oh yes, yes I do.
And she
Yes.
was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't know how to explain it to her. Like, I don't.
Listen, I just had to show it to her. Okay, I had to.
I know.
I it needed to happen.
It
I
did.
didn't.
It
I
happened
didn't know.
too.
Yeah, I didn't know if she was going to love it or not, but
I think she
you
liked
know,
it. We didn't really ask.
it
uh,
was just, yeah, one of those
uh,
silly things that I was like, you got to see this. You know,
Slaughterhouse from 1987
Slaughterhouse.
with the Buddy Bacon and the farm and the slaughterhouse that we're gonna
Yeah,
foreclose
yeah,
on, and he kills those kids because they were fucking with his pigs.
yeah, 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 yeah.
You
This
can't
is the
go around
one.
killing
I,
people because they mess with your hogs, boy. And he goes,
this one I remember
God.
mostly from the fucking artwork. You know,
It's a sheriff and them can't remember the guys. They're the real ones that deserve this.
I think what
Hell,
I remember the
I didn't
most
get you
about
a
this
bum
movie.
cleaver just for the waste on some teenagers, something like that. And then he goes like, "Well, at least you make damn good clean cuts, boy." Like that's just like. So the reason my history with this is I bought a Mortician album, an EP of theirs off of a movie or some music catalog type thing in the '90s, and I didn't know where this came from until mid 2000s sometime when I discovered Slaughterhouse. The thing is, Slaughterhouse the Lucky 13 bootleg that was out there, that DVD had enticed me just by its cover art multiple times, not realizing it's the same movie from. I'm getting echo from you. It's the same movie as from that song that I listened to in my teens called Slaughterhouse, I think.
Are you sure you're getting echo from me,
Yes.
or is it
I was
from
getting
the
echo from you,
screen?
hearing it from myself. My stream is muted. Why would I hear my stream?
I don't know.
Okay. Excellent. I'm glad we solved that mystery.
I'm just like, okay, so I was like, what the? Because I don't even know what the hell I can do to solve that
Lower the
right now.
volume. Lower
Yeah,
the sensitivity on your mic
that it
in
makes it more
Discord.
difficult to hear you.
No, lower the sensitivity in your mic in Discord will help. You gotta lower
Oh yeah, yeah.
the gain so that it stops picking up every little thing. Yeah.
Input volume. Well, not input volume.
And I'll just turn you up on this end to make up the difference. No, you don't want input volume. It's the gain, mic gain.
Where's the thing for that? I don't know.
It's somewhere in the settings. I don't fucking know. I can't help you right now because I'm streaming. So like, I was about to go
Mhm.
tab out. I'm like, oh wait, no, I should probably not do that because they'll see everything I do. You're on your own. Hello? I mean, you have a Yeti, don't you?
I don't know.
Don't you have a Yeti?
Yes,
You
that's
have the
why I
fucking
was.
gain control on the back of the damn microphone.
Yes, that's why I was.
All right, well,
Yes, that's why I was like, wait, let me go over here.
okay. All
I don't
right.
know which direction to turn it though.
No, the other way. La 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 la
Okay.
la 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 la.
La 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 la.
Much better. I gotta turn you up on this end. That's fine.
Okay.
I'd much rather have to turn you up on this end than hear myself prattle on in your earphones. Anyway, Slaughterhouse about Buddy Bacon and his dad, and they're slasher killing people. It's a 1987 slasher film. Fair warning: the opening credits include actual slaughterhouse footage of pigs being slaughtered. So you're gonna want to look away for about the first minute and a half of the runtime of this movie until you hear chattering, and you'll be good. There's no more animal cruelty.
Ooh.
And yeah, it's not really animal cruelty, I guess. No more animal
I think
slaughtering. It's not being, I mean, like ethically maybe it's cruelty, but that's an ethical discussion to have elsewhere away from this podcast. But that aside, I love this movie. This is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. I wish it had gotten a sequel. They planned a sequel, it just never got funded. There's a trailer and like a promo reel for a sequel on the Blu-ray. And I also regret not getting the split box, hard box set from Vinegar Syndrome, which it's one big hard cardboard box that you open up in the middle, like Slaughterhouse doors. And with the Blu-ray inside, it's got the Slaughterhouse poster, which is Buddy Bacon, backlit by the open door of the Slaughterhouse. So that would have been like a neat little thing to see. But nope, I fucked up and didn't buy that because I was poor. That being said, I love this movie. It's so fucking silly and weird, a little gross, but there's nothing like super offensive in this. There's no it's like not even that gory to be fair. Anyway, what were your thoughts about Slaughterhouse?
I think the thing I like the most about it, or what I found most interesting about it, is that it's a really low budget movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for a low budget slasher horror movie,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually really well shot.
It
Like
is.
the way the cinematography in it is actually really fucking. It's like, I wouldn't say top tier quality, but it's pretty good. It's nothing to shake your fist at or whatever. It it looks like a movie that was shot by somebody with a much bigger budget. You know what I mean? I think that's
Yes.
what I'm trying
It's a
to
regional
express.
horror film also,
So
which means
yeah,
it's made in a specific
so
region
impressive. Yeah,
outside
very
of the
impressive for what it
Hollywood
is.
system. Yeah.
And the plot is solid enough. The actors are decent enough. Some of them better than others. Um, it's just a good, solid, fun, cheesy, you know, horror movie, slasher movie, and well, uh, well shot as well. So Yeah, I think it's like a 7 out of 10. Honestly.
Like, I think honestly 7 out of 10 is fair. I give it 8 out of 10, and I hearted it because obviously it's a tip-top favorite of mine, so it's kind of gotta. Next is, did we watch Freejack, or was that me and someone else?
Freaky. I'm not familiar with
Freejack? With,
Freejack. Yes,
okay, we watched
I thought you
Freejack.
said Freaky Jack. I was like, what?
No. Okay, Freejack then. With, if I remember correctly, Mick Jagger is the bad guy. Emilio Estevez is the good guy. Renee Russo is the girlfriend. Anthony Hopkins is the evil corporate overlord. Like, Amanda Plummer is some lady. I can't remember.
This movie was actually kind of good. I remember I suggested that we watch it because it was like after midnight or whatever, and it's time for cheesy movies, right?
Yeah, it
And it
was.
looks like a cheesy movie, and
it is.
kind of is, but it's like it's actually very entertaining and quite good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a I don't want to say like a post-apocalyptic thing, but
No, it's cyberpunk. That's the word you're looking
cyberpunk.
for.
Yes, cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
It's a cyberpunk future. So what happens is Emilio
Think
Estevez.
like Blade Runner almost,
Yeah, Emilio
So that kind
Estevez
of-
is. This is kind of a similar plot to Millennium, but they do that with Millennium. They do it with airplanes, airplane crashes. They take all the people from airplane crashes and bring them to the future for something. I don't remember what. I think there's something
Yeah.
sinister going on, but that that's a Millennium. That's a movie we should watch at some point. So Emilio Estevez is a race car driver, and he has a horrible accident. And upon the impact of the car hitting a bridge and about to explode, he is transported to the future so that some evil billionaire who's dying can have a young body.
An evil billionaire played by Anthony Hopkins. How about that?
He's wanted by the government as a freejacker because he escapes his captors and tries to like find a way to solve his situation and get freedom and all that. And yeah, Mick Jagger's the evil enforcement agent who's like kind of like a bounty hunter for this corporation. And as far as I understand it, I think the idea was the cops have been corporatized, so each corporation has their own cops. Was it? Something like that, or
They
security
own the
force?
cops.
Yeah, we own the cops. Yeah,
In much the same way as like
RoboCop.
RoboCop.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of cool. They had like this little. They had this like Argentinian tank or some shit that they're passing off as some sort of future tech. It's not future tech. I don't think it's actually Argentinian either. I just can't remember what country it's from. It might be Belgian.
Like all really good movies in this genre, this subgenre, I guess, of science fiction. Um, this deals with the concept of personhood and what rights do you have, and like in this case, it's somebody who technically died, uh, so like 20 some odd years ago, and and he's been brought back from the past right before he died to the future for his body to be for somebody else's brain essentially to be put into his body.
It sounds
right?
a lot more complex than it is. It isn't. It's pretty simple, straightforward as you watch it. It's explained to you pretty
Yeah,
blatantly. It sounds convoluted
but
when you try to
but
explain it to
the
somebody, though. Just because,
well,
yeah.
but the idea that what I like about that idea is just that it's much like other science fiction movies of its type. It's talking about what rights do you have if you're not technically alive. If you're like there are other movies in this branch of science
Oh,
fiction that
yeah.
have to deal with AI, artificial intelligence. What rights do they have? And like, well, Blade Runner. What rights do do they have? The I forget what they call them in that movie. Yeah.
Freejack.
Um,
Oh, no, that thing. Sorry.
different,
My brain. Ignore me.
What rights do the Freejacks have in this universe? And it shows you how a society can so quickly and easily get to the point of questioning the rights of a living, breathing individual.
Who
You know,
technically died. Technically.
technically, but here they
So
are
it's
living
like
and breathing. So do they have rights or do they not have
exact.
rights?
Yeah, that's
You
the
know,
moral conundrum.
that is the moral conundrum
Yeah.
of movies like this and stories like this. And I think that's what I liked about it. Is that it's like
It's
it
same thing like The
it's a little
Island
bit
or
deeper than you might even think
like
when
Michael
you're
Bay's
getting
The
into it.
Island or The Clones the Part Tour, which The Island ripped off, in which people are harvested for organs. They're like cloned, and then like the clones are harvested organs for their living body, their regular bodies. And those two is and like someone escapes. And is that person actually a living human being, even though he's a clone of a real person?
Hmm.
You know, and I don't know. It's like that kind of thing. And actually, The
Yeah,
Island is one of Michael Bay's better films, to be fair.
but it's also a remake of a different movie, isn't it? Or maybe a story. Okay.
Yeah, Clonus the Partor. That is the name of the original movie
Oh, okay.
that it's based on. It's got another title, but who gives a shit? Because Clonus the Partor sounds awesome. Clonus
What
colon the Partor, like as in body
the
parts.
parts Ford
Horror.
horror? Okay.
Horror. The parts horror.
Okay.
Horror.
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 What an interesting word we have decided as a species to use to define scary movies and books and whatnot.
Horror.
Horror. And however you pronounce it, most people,
Horrors.
most of the time when you pronounce horror, you're not going to put the emphasis on the roar, right? So
Right.
it's such an interesting word to use.
All right. Do you remember Without Warning?
Without warning, let me look on IMDb to see if I can remember this.
It's the one that influenced Predator. If
Predator.
you can't remember anything about it, we can just pass it. It's fine. Just another excuse for me to show it to you again.
Oh yeah,
Fucking love this movie, by the way. It's a Grady Clark joint, in case anyone's curious. He did my favorite movie that I have yet to show Stout of his is called. Is the favorite movie of his is called The Uninvited, and it's about this cat. It's killer cat, right? When it attacks people, it vomits out another smaller, different cat to kill those people.
Huh.
Yes, it's as weird as you're thinking right
So
now.
this is different from the other uninvited movie with Vincent Price.
Yes.
Which also deals with cats.
Yes.
Oh, it's a small world.
I gathered that Grady Clark was inspired by the Vincent Price film. To be fair.
I think the thing I remember about this the most is
So Without Warning, by the way, this is what we're talking about.
Without Warning. What I remember the most about Without Warning is what's this face? The Boy Scout troop and their sorry. And their leader or whatever, right? The Boy Scout
that
leader
fuck.
guy, right? Yeah.
That fucking
Who,
fuck.
like, it just ends up getting screwed.
Yep.
And and the Boy Scouts run off, and I feel like we never hear from them again. We don't know what happened to them.
Oh, they get to survive because they're not there anymore. That's what I've decided.
They're just in the movie to be put into peril for a moment and then run off and not be in peril anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of explosions at the end of this movie too. It's kind of cool.
I like the
suit
creature
work.
too.
There's good
The
suit work
creature's
here.
really cool.
Yeah. And like I said, this comes I think a few years before Predator, so this is clearly an inspiration to some degree. It definitely is like you have like this like lineage of movies, right? Where you have like the Frankenstein style, I created a monster, and then there's the alien who's landed and is lost in small town American woods. And scientists have to discover what the problem is. Or Bronson Canyon. A lot of times there's just aliens wandering around Bronson Canyon, Bronson
Yeah.
Caves, and fucking Griffiths Park, just like
Why do they
lost.
always end up there? I just
It's a perfect place to land a spaceship. First of all, second of all, it's a hub of paranormal activity. You see, and that's why all these movies, these documentaries, are made about them. We have to consult the documentaries. Anyway,
is that where that fucking movie was
so,
shot? The the
which one?
the mockumentary one
Which one?
about the guy who goes out into the woods in Los Angeles area. He's a notable filmmaker himself, and he like goes out to spot these like real life monsters, right? And they like come from underground. You don't remember this at all?
I mean,
And the creature effects are really fucking cool.
I
by
know.
the way, but...
Oh, are you talking about? You're talking about digging up the marrow.
Yes, yes.
You were confused me. Yes, that takes place. There's stuff shot in Bronson Canyons there. Yeah.
Perfect, as
Bronson
it
Caves.
should be.
Yeah. Fuck, what was I saying? Oh yeah, there's a clear lineage of these scientists making a monster, aliens delivering a monster, industrial and scientific accidents creating a monster, and they're all basically the same fucking movie. A monster wandering around the woods, white people are talking. That's the movie. That's the format. My favorite is Don Doller because he's showing you people that you did not know existed. They're weird, they're strange, they're interesting, and you know these people. If you ever lived in a small town, these are just fucking small town folk. You know how it is. They're all the same. There's actual like genres of small town folk. You know, Log Lady. It's a fucking genre of small town folk. I'm telling you, the whole fucking show has got a bunch of small town folk. That's the whole point. Where you're just like, this person is like that old guy, Jonah, everyone talks about, who rides his bicycle with his pants off or whatever. Like, weird shit like that. You hear those stories. Or where I grew up, it was a creepy, tall, thin man. And he was just like a 6'6" guy with no hair, always dressed in a suit and carrying a briefcase, walking everywhere. You would just see him walking. We were convinced he was a ghost, but once he actually sat down next to my wife at the library, and we confirmed he was a real human, and we found his name, which I'm not going to reveal, obviously, in case people try to connect any of that shit. No.
So wait a minute. You're telling me you had a fucking Home Alone moment?
I mean, yeah, that's the
creepy old guy.
But you don't like
you
find.
Sat down and talked to him.
Yeah. But like, yeah, I mean, he doesn't live in a small town. He lives in the suburbs, so you see less of those people, right? Those people are more ostracized in those areas. In small town, people just accept you as you are. Oh, he's just a little weird. You'll just be like, is he walking around with a jar of pickles? Yeah, he's just weird. I'm like, okay, yeah, look,
that's Pickle Johnny.
That's just Pickle Johnny. Yeah, like it's just the thing. That's just Johnny Pickle Toe or some shit, right? Like
he really likes pickles.
He shot his fucking foot off with a shotgun once in 1985, and he ain't been right since. Like, it don't make no sense. It doesn't matter. It's Pickle Johnny.
Every day you see him go from his house to the store, and he's got a pickle jar in his hand, and he's eating the pickles out of the jar as he's walking to the store. And then by the time he gets to the store, he's eating all the pickles, so he gets some more pickles at the store, and he walks on home back, and by the time he gets back home, he's out of pickles again.
That's Pickle Johnny. But I mean, no, that's the thing. I live in a small town. I've lived in small towns most of my life. There are just some weird people, and nobody gives a fuck that you're weird. They'll talk shit about you behind your back, because everyone talks shit about each other behind their back in small towns, because everyone's fucking bored as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't doing nothing but watching fucking soap operas and reality television and talking shit about each other, like, that's all these people do. They ain't got nothing else going on. They work.
Yeah.
That's it. A lot of retirees, a lot of weirdos. We got the nudists next door. That's always cool. Just like, yeah, great. I look out and Aunt Tilda's got her tits out again. I'm like, all right, well, hey. I mean, she's a big, beautiful woman, but like, damn, I don't want to see her tits on a Tuesday afternoon when I'm trying to like talk to my fucking polycule or some shit, right? Like, what the fuck? Like, I'm trying to have like romantic discussions until he's slopping her tits out like those fucking pendulum toys, you know? Like, fuck. More power to her. Once again, why do I have to be subject to it on a Tuesday while I'm trying to talk to my polycule? Anyway, we sound like one of those old comedy records, but like worse, but way worse. Anyway, fuck, what were we talking about? I don't even remember. Oh yeah, Without Warning. This movie's popular with those kind of people. We were like, I know a guy just like that.
Mm-hmm.
The dumbass fucking scoutmaster, you know a fucking guy like that. If you were in scouts, you know a guy like that. That fucking asshole who just was such a stickler for the rules. That motherfucker. Nobody likes that guy. Everyone talks shit about that guy.
You also get to see Jack Palance. And,
oh yeah, wasn't he the omen dealer?
Martin
like
Landau.
Wasn't he one telling everyone that there's a blood curse or some shit?
Yeah, he's that guy. He plays that role.
This is like slasher adjacent. You know, it's like it's formatted like a slasher, but it's a sci-fi film through and through. Even at the horrific moments, it's still a sci-fi film. Mm-hmm. It deals, you know, with stuff. So it's like, it's one of those hybrid films, and so you get a little bit of a classic sci-fi 50s like white people wandering through the woods and slasher stuff, and it's just kind of smooshed together. Graydon Clark like to do that, just smush some genres together and make a genre stew. Sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's ew. Anyway, mm-hmm. Without Warning was great. I gave that one a 7 out of 10.
I think I gave it a 6 out of 10.
That's fair. Bad Ben Pandemic. Oh my god, this one sucked. Mm-hmm. I hated this one.
This one was just not good.
I hated this one.
I'm sorry to all the
bad Benophiles, bad Ben heads.
Yes,
I don't know what our fucking
all the
fans called.
Who clearly got involved with the making of this movie. It's just like
they're not even the problem. It's like he chose those people to go in the movie. That's the problem.
And it's my main issue is that like either there wasn't enough control or there was too much control.
What if there was only
over the storylines that they were working with? Because the problem that that movie runs into is that literally every time you see somebody come through with a video call or send a video to him,
same thing.
It's the exact same plot.
It's got the Exterminator City problem
over again. It's exactly right. This is Exterminator City problem.
Yeah.
Except in this case, instead of just the fucking
there's not even titties.
The person getting killed.
They don't even get titties.
The woman getting killed
in the shower specifically.
Fucking robot sword fight, and then
one robot sword fight at the very end for 37 seconds, and the movie ended.
Instead of that, what you get is they send in a video. Something strange is going on around here. And then something comes up from behind and kills them. Kind of. It's just
it happens like 5 or 6 times.
Fucking thing over and over and over and over again, and it gets so mind numbing and it's so long.
Only good parts are Nigel Buck's.
It's like it never fucking ends.
The only good part.
It's like a 2-hour long movie.
Yeah, and the only good parts are literally fucking. Was it Ben Reilly? No, that's what's his name. Fuck.
Tom Riley.
Tom Riley's comments. Everything else was just cringe. But I was like, say, what if, okay, I'm postulating something here. What if there's only fucking 20 of us dorks who are dumb enough, dorky enough, hardcore fan enough to do that? If I was a fan of Bad Ben before that movie came out, you're goddamn right I would have made a submission for that. And a heartbeat. And a heart fucking beat. We probably would have done it together, to be fair.
Yeah.
You know, while wearing our podcast t-shirts, because we're fucking shills. I just got this shirt today. That's why I'm wearing it. Look at this fucking shirt. Look at this fucking shit. Eddie Kingston covered in blood, walking around with a gas can. Fuck with me, I dare you.
Perfect. But yeah, Bad Ben Pandemic. Bad. Probably should not have been done, but at the same time, it's like if you just think of it as a movie that they made because they were stuck at home during the
Mm-hmm.
pandemic and they didn't have anything better to do, and they just were just fucking around, and there was very little thought put into it or effort for that matter. It's just like, okay, fine.
I know one
It's
person.
understandable why this movie
I
exists.
know one person for sure
It's
that this is their favorite one. So hey, there are differences in tastes, of course.
yeah.
All right.
By the way, I would give that like a 3 out of 10.
I gave it a 2 out of 10. So 1 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Oh, next my fucking new favorite goddamn movie, Mikey and Nicky.
Ah, yes. We got tired of watching movies that were, goddamn it,
Or bad.
yes, that were not very good.
Oh, I
Um,
mean, yeah.
well, they weren't. Most of them were being.
It wasn't like that
kind
one
of
week, like the week we're coming up to, where we watched three, 5.5,
true.
5 out of 10 movies, and you had to choose Jurassic Park to save the fucking night.
Well, that's true.
I
Yeah.
mean, that was pretty rough. That was pretty fucking rough weekend. All right, thank God for Jurassic Park.
Mhm.
Yeah, Mikey and Nicky's Peter Falk and John Cassavetes. Nicky's Cassavetes. Mikey is Peter Falk. They're childhood best friends. They've been friends their whole lives. They're in the back half of their years. And Nicky is gotten himself into some trouble with the local mafia dudes. And they're gonna fucking kill him. Because he owes too much money. And yeah, this is basically a buddy film. But it's
Yeah.
about something that gets rarely actually made, is the breakup of a buddy.
Somebody.
Some buddies
come on.
have a divorce, a breakup. And they don't become buddies. They're done. They're like best. Sometimes you have a best friend and you just have a fucking falling out. And you never talk to that person again. That's what this movie is. It's literally Mikey and Nicky slowly, like, Mikey's already fucking fed up with the friendship.
Mhm.
And Nicky is like obsessively trying to cling to it like a life raft.
Mhm.
Not realizing the reason he sunk is, I mean, it's spoiled in the fucking trailer, and it's really early on we finding this out, so it's not much of a spoiler, because it's like literally like 20 minutes in the movie. I don't feel like I'm spoiling anything when I say that, like, Mikey is the one, I'm guessing, to save his own skin, has set up Nicky to take the fall. Is what I'm guessing.
Possibly.
In a
It
way,
might.
like, you know.
Well, it might also just have been that, like, they threatened him and his family if he didn't give them information or whatever.
Yeah. Well, oh yeah. So, so it's like if besties are breaking up, they're having a divorce, and God, that fucking ending. Oh my God, what a powerful last like 2 minutes of film. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and the behind the scenes like story of like Elaine May literally just turned the camera on and let Peter Falk and John Cassavetes go to fucking town. They had a script too, and at one point they both left the fucking set, and Elaine May's sitting there. And the cameraman closed the call, cut, and she's like, "What are you doing? That's my job." And he's like, "Well, both the actors walked off set," and she says, "But they could come back,"
Mm-hmm.
which is like,
Great.
okay. So she
That's like
say,
the heart of New Hollywood right there. Just
yeah,
like, no, we're gonna do things different.
She shot like 15 times the amount of film you normally do for a film. Like, do you need like I think 80,000 feet or 14,000 feet or something to like do most feature films, and she shot like thousands of like extra feet. Like, she would be shooting long takes and long unrehearsed segments, and like letting them just exist together as the characters on film. And she captured some incredible fucking moments because of it. Some really great conversations that are revealing about the characters, and some of it's gotta be like, I swear some of that has to be like ad-libbed. It has to be, because it just feels like it's personal in a way, and they could just be that good at actors too. But yeah, I fucking adored this movie. Please, I'll stop talking about it. You can have words finally.
Um, I also adored this movie. I also
I
really
bought it.
liked it. Uh, it's it's a great new Hollywood film for it is part of the new Hollywood,
It is
and it
100%
really
part of the new
feels like
Hollywood.
it.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really like about it, I think, is just the opportunity also to see like New York at that time in the 70s, right? Because it was before they made all the big changes that have legitimately just fucking made that city look and feel completely different today from what it did back then. And so you get to see like these dilapidated buildings that are just falling apart at the time. And, you know, uh,
New York were
it's just
legitimately
like
dangerous at that era, you know?
it's it's just a completely different vibe from what you would think of New York today. You know what I mean? So I love movies like that
Isn't it
from that
shot? It's
time
shot in
period.
Cal. It's shot in. We see Pink's hot dogs. That's not New York. That's Los Angeles.
Oh wait, that's it isn't New York. Maybe I'm thinking of a different movie that was in New York at the that we watched.
Yeah, it was in Los Angeles. Oh, in
Oh,
Philadelphia. Oh no,
okay.
sorry, it's in Philadelphia. We're both wrong. It's in Philadelphia.
Oh, interesting. I was just completely fucking wrong.
Me too. And it was shot in Philadelphia. I'm wrong.
Well, I mean, but all right. So what I would say then it's not New York, but
I think the Pink's
it's
hot dogs is
from
another
this
movie.
time period. It's from this time period where like the just that you're seeing all this shit that's happening at night. Again, the buildings look very fucking old and dilapidated, and you're seeing like the city streets at night, and you get to see at some points the marquee of like a movie theater, and
Oh
they
right.
even enter an old movie theater at one
You see that
point,
movie that they're watching too.
and yeah, and
One of them is the Big Boss. No, it's Fist of Fury, but it was like under the alternate title that was
yeah,
released in America. Sorry, continue.
and well, it produces a certain feeling, a certain it's an interesting setting for
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation to be taking place, and it's a time and place and setting that couldn't have existed at any other time in the in film history. You know what I mean? Where like um if this movie had been made and set in the exact same place at the exact with the exact same like plot concept in the 90s, it would have been a completely different movie from what it actually is.
Yeah,
You know, if
there's a
in
lot
the
of killing up in the
50s, it would have been
'90s, especially.
completely fucking different. This is
Oh,
like
this set in the '50s would
this
have been great.
feels like the 70s.
This
This
being made in the '50s would have
feels
been
like the
awesome.
70s.
Yeah, yeah. This being made in the '50s would have been like, oh, this would have been incredible in the '50s. I need a movie
Yeah,
set made in the '50s that's this
but
plot.
that I don't think that would be possible though. Like because it's new Hollywood, and it's just like in the 50s they weren't making movies like this.
I
So
don't even know who I'd cast as the characters.
yeah, I
You know
don't
what I
know.
mean? Like, it'd be Philip Seymour Hoffman if he was still living. Maybe
In the
Joaquin
modern, yeah.
Phoenix. I can see Joaquin Phoenix. He's older, you know.
As Nicky or as Mike?
As Nicky, he is 100
Yes,
percent
yes,
manic,
yes,
and
yes.
I would cast I don't know someone more even keeled. I mean I don't know. Like that's the thing. There's like a dozen actors you could probably go with. Like,
Hmm.
but we're looking for that kind of age range that they're similar ages because they grew up together.
Yeah.
So maybe instead of it just being two white guys, we can mix it up a bit and be more inclusive. I don't know. Like fuck, we could I'd like that'd be really cool though. I could see that. Anyway, Mikey and Nicky, 9 out of 10. It's like it went on
9 out of 10. Yeah, it's very good.
it went on my Canada skin slip immediately. It's one of my favorite films. I bought it on Blu-ray already. No worries, it'll be here soon.
I
It's
just
just one
love
of
that
those
like
movies.
20 minutes in we get to see like in the first 20 minutes, they kind of develop the characterization of the two and their friendship specifically, like how one person is to the other and what one person means to the other person and vice versa, right? They set up these characters, and then right after they set up these characters and show you what they mean to each other, you see one of them immediately betraying the other one. And it's an interesting character study
But like
of
it,
that
like I
front.
said, this is about how Mikey is fed up. He's
Yeah,
done
yeah.
with Nick because Nicky is under the weight of a mood disorder that he's clearly not
Mhm.
treating. He said he's taking like drugs and doing dangerous abusive habits and hurting people around him and he's doing all these toxic things.
Yeah.
And clearly Mikey's done cleaning up all his fucking messes. That's what it feels like. He's like it's like imagine if I were a train wreck. I mean, more of a train wreck. I mean, and you had to clean up all my fucking messes every time. You get tired of that shit.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's a good movie.
Incredible movie.
Amazing character
Piece.
study.
Study. Oh
Thank you.
yeah, definitely a
Thank you,
character.
Brain.
Yes, I agree. Character study. Oh, I need to add this to the list before we get. Don't close the thing. Black Friday.
Oh yeah, Black Friday with Devon Sawa and
Bruce
Bruce
Campbell.
Campbell. Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
I can't remember a fucking thing about this movie.
it's weird. It's like
Wasn't
it
bad, but I
straddles the
didn't.
ine between good and bad. You
Apparently
know,
gave it a 6 out of 10. So there's my review.
it feels in many ways kind of mediocre, but then also somebody who, as a fan of Black Friday, who has spent many years, at least online, buying things on Black Friday and saving up money for Black Friday and all that stuff, getting involved in that stuff, and I've been out on Black Friday a few times as well, so I know what that's like as well.
I have a feeling if we were
And
in proximity, we would have gone out together to Black Fridays frequently.
possibly, yeah.
I mean,
But point is, like,
I
I'm
like
very
shopping.
familiar with Black Friday. I enjoy it. I have enjoyed it, but I've also, of course, there are always things about it that everybody
Have you
fucking
ever worked
hates.
Black Friday?
No, and I can imagine that would be fucking
I'm
nightmarish.
remembering this
And
movie
that's
now.
very much what this movie is about: is working on Black Friday.
Black Friday was fucking the worst. The dog shits, and you had to choke that shit down and earn your paycheck. And everybody was a horrible person. There were fucking Karens and Chads choking every goddamn aisle. Not a decent fucking human soul to be seen in sight. Even the employees are just soulless monsters by fucking noon. Because fuck these people. I've been dealing with them since 5 a.m. They can go fuck themselves. And you just want to set the entire building on fire, including yourself, because you don't want to go out in the sun. You don't want to go out into the real world after experiencing such horrors. I mean, like
Yeah.
I have seen a woman try to pepper spray a lady and accidentally hit her kid, her fucking 10-year-old kid, at like point blank with pepper spray because of fucking she proceeded to cut in front of her. I have no idea. I wasn't. I didn't see the actual incident, but I was because it was down the aisle.
Mhm.
But I did hear the shriek of the child and look over, and the other mom just starts fucking swinging, starts like punching the fucking lady who's pepper sprayed the fucking cat. I was like, what the fuck? I have seen some fucking shit. Never seen anybody get killed, thank God. Hopefully I never do, because Jesus Christ.
Well, people end up dying in this movie. But it's very fucking weird. And when I say that, I mean, like, you're not going to expect where this is going, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's not just a movie where there are a bunch of people working dead end jobs at a fucking toy store on Black Friday and they fucking all hate their lives for various different reasons that we learn about through
Fuck.
their characterization in the first 15 or so minutes. But it's also a movie where there are uh there are fucking zombies who take over the fucking store. You know,
Yeah.
the running kind of zombie.
Yeah.
Not
Ooey
the
gooey running zombies.
yes.
Uh. Uh.
But it's not it's worse than that. But go ahead, because you're gonna
What
lose
movie? What movie had the KB toys in it? I can't remember.
Airheads.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. I couldn't remember what movie it was. This wasn't it. And I'm like, this is not it. This is definitely a Costco, Walmart situation.
Yeah. Um but like, yeah, it's not just a Black Friday movie with zombies. It's a Black Friday movie with zombies where the zombies end up creating some fucking giant thing in the center of the
They're
store
building something.
that's like
I don't want to spoil it.
yeah, they're building something, and it appears to be made of like human bodies in some way, shape, or form.
And technology, and it's so weird.
And then like, I don't want to give too much away,
Yeah.
but the ending kind of reminds me of the ending of Super Mario World 2 with Baby Bowser. Just put it that way. um. So yeah, it's interesting, but I felt like none of the characters in this movie really had like a strong showing. None of them really got
100%
to
agree.
prove themselves or have a uplifting or positive moment, or even
It was just
a
kind
moment
of
where they just totally got fucked.
okay.
You know,
So
they're just
I've got it perfectly.
they exist.
So here's a movie structure normally. Peak up, end of Act 1. We go back down. Peak back up, end of Act 2. Peak back, and then you just go up. End of Act 2, you go up. That's the climax,
Mm-hmm.
right? This movie just goes up, flat lines for a fucking hour, and then there's the climax. That's this movie.
Yeah.
20 minutes in,
It's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
the aliens show up, and the movie just fucking flatlines. It never gets any. It never gets any like more tense than that. It's just like, oh, there's aliens. Quick, run, save yourself.
Yeah.
Like
There were moments when it seemed like they
it's
were
like
about
Constantine
to
all
give,
over again.
There were moments that it seemed like they were about to give at least
The
one or
original
two of
film.
the characters something to strive for, to achieve, to want to live for, or something like that. And
Really,
they just
yeah.
never capitalized on any of them.
It was so
Not well enough, at least.
It was
So,
dull. It did the kernel sin of
yes.
being dull.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad.
It
It wasn't good.
bad.
It was just dull.
Just, yeah, it was like a 6 out of 10.
That's yeah. That's why I gave it.
I still love Bruce Campbell. I still love Devon Sawa, but meh.
Oh,
It's
now
not
we're.
their fault. This movie is what it is.
And by the way, we went from a 5-star movie to No, we went from a 6-star movie to 3 5-star movies in a row. This is why we had
Mikey and Nicky.
No, we went from we're coming up. We just hit the
Okay,
we did the 6-star movie,
Sorry.
and now we're gonna get 3 5-star movies in a row. The Incubus. What the fuck is this piece of shit about?
I don't know.
Oh wait, I missed a movie, didn't I? No, I missed a movie. Before that, we did Flesh and Blood. Remember that nihilistic fucking movie? Paul Verhoeven, Rutger Hauer, the Middle Ages, murdering. Everyone's got a bad ending. It's all just misery and dreck for the fucking 2 hours.
Ah,
You don't remember it at all?
nothing.
We definitely watched that together. That was me and you, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, yeah, I remember watching this, but
Okay, I'll take it from the list.
I don't
We'll move
remember
on.
a goddamn thing about it.
We will move on.
It's that forgettable, everybody.
I don't think it's forgettable. I think
I've already fucking forgotten about it.
I gave it a 7 out of 10. It's a very good movie. The problem is it is just so nihilistic. I felt like I wanted to take a shower afterwards. Like, I did. I feel like I need to wash off. And, that's all I can say is that I didn't like it. I didn't hate it. I might own it someday because I like Paul Verhoeven's work, and I think the special features are worth having. And Kino did a good job, but, like, I don't. Yeah. Hold on, wait. Maybe I actually already own it. 1 second. I gotta look. I may
All
actually
right,
already own
now
it.
I'm beginning to remember this movie a little bit more.
Just like
Let's
there's
sit
rape
here
and murder and
watching it through.
misery, and it's 2 hours long.
Yeah, there are elements I think that are good,
There are
but
great
it's
elements. It's a
just
good movie. It's
yeah.
just, woof. The Incubus. What's the Incubus about?
How do you expect me to know all these things? I don't
Because you have a
know.
better memory than I do.
I really don't. I swear to God, I don't. This is a
Definitely.
line. You are
It's
lying to
the
your
and they're in the
audience.
small England
Still
town,
lying.
and the teenage boy claims he dreams of young women being brutally raped and murdered. And a doctor and the local sheriff discover the boy's dreams are real, and that a sinister occult might be behind the brutal murders. And they must track down the vicious killer, who may be the indestructible incarnation of a demon spawned from hell. That's a
Huh.
mouthful. That was a fucking mouthful. Woo!
Wow.
Is that
How
another
do
one you don't
you?
remember?
No, I remember it, but I just remembered. I'm remembering now. This is just one of the movies that we watched with John Cassavetes.
Mm-hmm.
This in the past few.
Mm-hmm. And we keep randomly
Um,
running into him, not even trying to. Just like, oh hey, it's John Cassavetes. 10 years
I think
later.
I think what made this somewhat forgettable is the fact that it, like the plot, as you say, is very much about like somebody. It's just it's the person who is having dreams about killing people, and those people end up dying, and then it's a cliche, so to speak.
Yeah, it. This
It's
is
something we've seen before. It's been done
it's like
before.
the plot of like every third giallo film.
Yeah,
And this is like another one of those movies that's almost a slasher film, the way it's structured, but not necessarily any of the other elements. Just the so it's just like it's treading a line. And the ending was kind of bonkers, but I don't think the trip to the ending was worth more than 5 out of 10 stars.
yeah.
I mean, I don't have anything positive to say about Incubus. We'll put it that way.
If I
Other
remember
than
correctly,
there was some
it
cool
felt
scenes.
long, and it was only an hour and a half. It's like
Yes, it
it was
feels
an hour and a half,
long.
but it feels like it's 2.5
It
hours.
feels so long. It feels so long. Oh my god.
It drags. It really
Oh my god.
drags.
It drags more than I do. No, sorry. That's a bad joke. I'm allowed to make that joke. No one else. We watched Moontrap next, changing the subject. What another movie
That
that
one
I thought this was
I
going to be better.
actually like.
Oh,
Well, I
I
actually like it.
okay. When you fucking talk about
Yeah.
it, then you apparently paid attention and didn't fight sleep through the whole thing.
Well, that's probably true. Yeah. So another movie with Bruce Campbell in it. This
Dull,
is
dull
I think
movie.
he's a little bit better in this one. Um
He's never bad. He's never the problem in the
well
movies.
yeah.
Bruce Campbell
Yeah.
is not the problem in Black Friday. Bruce Campbell is the highlight. Michael Jai White's awesome. Like Devon Sawa is great. Like those people are great, but those people are not enough to lift up the mediocrity of the rest of the movie. You know, they're just bright spots in the dreck. That's my description of Black Friday. You hardcore fans of any of those people should watch it because you'll get some enjoyment out of it, but it's not gonna. It's probably not. I shouldn't say it's not. I shouldn't say in an absolute. It's probably not gonna be your yearly watching thing. It's just, except for that person who finds out this is their favorite movie. Congrats.
Mhm.
It's not. You could have worse movies to watch every year. I mean, really. I mean, I will
Yeah.
probably watch it again in like 10 years and go, oh yeah, this is why I didn't like this movie. Or maybe
I
I'll
think
like it more. Who knows?
what I like about this movie is that it's you got Bruce Campbell, you got Walter Koenig,
Oh yeah, well, okay.
uh
Yes, him too.
and the practical effects are pretty fucking good. You know,
Yes.
they're pretty impressive looking practical effects for a sci-fi movie that I think had a fairly low budget.
Yeah,
How
I
much
think most of the
sequence
budget was
was
for the
in it?
actors. To be honest with you,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what it feels like. It feels a little anemic in other parts of the production.
And to be fair, for this one, I will say this is also a movie that suffers from cliches. Like
I mean, yeah.
it's been done. A lot of this has been done before. It's
And it's not
kind
done
of
well
like
enough to rise above being
yeah.
mediocre, and that's yeah. It's the way she goes
But I
sometimes.
still enjoy it for those few reasons.
I think
I
this
think
is
the main
PG
reason I
13
liked
also,
it,
isn't it?
I don't know. But
Gotta
I think the
look.
main reason I liked it is because I got the Blu-ray for $1 at a
Oh,
fucking half price books.
well, I mean, a
And
dollar, that's a great price for any fucking movie, honestly.
then when I watched it, I was like, oh wow, this is actually an enjoyable movie for $1, you know?
What was I gonna look up again? Fuck. I
I don't remember.
don't remember either.
Oh
I'm
yeah, if
pretty.
it's PG-13.
Oh yeah, thank you.
It
The
was
rating.
R. She
Oh, it
gets a
was
good
R. It
R.
was pretty soft R, I have to say.
Yes,
Anyway, Moontrap.
definitely. I think it's like a 6 out of 10. It's not great, but it's
Moontrap?
good.
I feel like
Yeah.
Moontrap is another one of those movies that were it was only 90 minutes long, but felt like it went on forever. Forever. Like, oh my god, forever. I was just like fighting to pay attention to the movie. I'm like, I need to pay attention. I need to pay attention. And it's just like, fuck.
I think it also suffers from like, okay, here's the big thing, the big take I'm gonna drop on everybody.
Okay.
This movie came out 3 years after Life Force, and it borrows heavily from Life Force.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. We've
I
talked
didn't know
about
that
it.
because I hadn't seen
Hmm.
Life Force the first time I saw this.
Oh, that's
So I saw
cool.
this before I saw Life Force, and I think
Ah.
that's probably why I liked it more back then.
I don't know. I don't think
But
it has anything to do with whether I liked it or not. For
but
me, it was
Life
just
Force
length.
is definitely way better than this,
Way better.
and
There's
it
so
takes
much
the
more
same
cocaine involved in Life
concepts.
Force.
Yeah,
Like,
it takes a lot of the same concepts and works a lot more with them than what they did
look,
in this movie.
say
So
what you will about drugs and yada yada yada, but I swear to fuck, movies made while on cocaine are way more entertaining 20 years later than movies that aren't. Okay? Okay, a lot of cocaine
movies
in a
that
lot of these old
planned
movies.
out. Yeah.
Mountains of cocaine in some of those movies. And I just, yes, that's why those movies, that's why the 80s movies had this vibe, this feel of it, because everybody was on cocaine, because it was still legal a little bit for part of that, and then it became illegal, and then people still fucking did it. Anyway, I fucking love movies. That's all I'm saying. But not this one. This one was okay. Next was a Chuck Norris movie that was duller than expected.
Oh God.
The only bad guys wear black. Or
So
good guys wear black. That's what it's called. I can't remember. I
I
fucked it
think
up.
what I remember about
My bad.
about Chuck Norris in this is that he is extremely young in this movie. Just
It's 1978. Yep.
very, very young.
It's only a
Doesn't
few
even
years
have
after.
a mustache, does he? If I remember correctly. Did he even have a mustache?
Yeah, he did. It's only like
Oh,
6 years after Way of the Dragon, which is where Bruce Lee and him did that famous fight. You know, like he's very young. I would say this is worse than Silent Rage. Better than Firewalker. Way worse than Sidekicks. Way worse, because Sidekicks is fucking incredible. Like totally
I will never
underrated.
understand why you love that movie so much.
Uh,
Never.
it is
Never understand.
also. Oh, by the way, but Good Guys Wear Black is also at least twice better than A Force of One, which is way not great. Holy shit! I still need to see as far as like his earlier stuff. I need to see like Forced Vengeance, Slaughter in San Francisco, and An Eye for an Eye. Like those are some of the movies I still need to see from that era. The Octagon I still haven't seen. I'm almost complete in on my Chuck Norris list, so I might actually push to do that here. Because
This is a problem with movies like this, though, is that they're so dull that like it's hard
I
to
mean,
remember much about them.
when you compare it to just 7 years later, Invasion USA is just like cocaine madness. Like that's the best way I can describe it. It's cocaine madness.
What was that one?
That's
I
the one they
think
got
my
to blow up a
favorite.
whole fucking neighborhood because they were renovating. They were gonna turn it into an airport. So they get to blow up houses wholesale, whole fucking houses.
Well, I'm trying to remember the name of the movie with Chuck Norris that we watched. I think in the last year or so. That God, it was basically like a modern day take on Frankenstein.
Oh, that was Silent Rage. That's where it's
Silent Rage.
Chuck Norris versus the Shape.
So far, that
It's
is
just
my
Michael Myers.
favorite. That is my favorite Chuck Norris.
It's
So
Frankenstein
far.
Myers, you know,
Yeah.
Michael Frankenstein.
It's quite good, actually.
I gave that one 6 out of 10. It's better than this one. Good Guys Wear
This
Black
one is very.
is
Yeah.
this guy was part of this crack team of he was on special forces and their whole gig was secret and someone is killing off the other survivors of his unit. And so he's trying to find out who, with the help of this reporter lady, who's having a hard time trusting. He feels like maybe she's the one giving the direction to kill. You know what I mean? Like he's ended up being. The thing is, for the first half of this movie, he ends up being like the finger, into by mistake. Because he'll just go to the other person to go talk to them, and they get killed. After giving him just a little bit of information, that's the and repeats that cycle a few times. But I never felt like the payoff really. It doesn't feel good enough. It's kind of lacking.
It's trying to be a political drama or whatever kind of a movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
But it fails on that level because it doesn't really feel like that. It doesn't feel like the Parallax View. It doesn't feel like Manchurian Candidate. It just feels like a fucking basic ass action film. And with a really the character that he plays doesn't really make any sense either. It's like, okay, so he's a Vietnam vet and
a race car driver on the weekend.
A race car driver on the weekends. He also works for the CIA. Are you fucking kidding me?
Right?
With this fucking plot?
Really? It's a little ridiculous.
It's like he's a modern day, an American version of fucking James Bond. And
right.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work as well at all. It's not presented as well, and it's not as well written, and that's the biggest problem. The writing in this is kind of bad. And the actors all are way better than the material they're given here. But, everyone needed a paycheck in the time, so we got to watch this piece of shit.
Nobody stopped the fucking writer when the writer was like, okay, what if so he's a Vietnam vet. What if he comes back and he starts working for the CIA?
So we go from a rescue in Vietnam.
What if he's also a race car driver?
We literally
fucking stopped this man.
We literally go from a race car. We literally go from Vietnam, a flat prequel or a prelude, and we cut back, and we come back where he's driving a race car, and then he starts talking to a reporter, and his friend gets shot, and then it's just it's like what? It's just all this shit starts thrown into you in the first 15 minutes. You're like, what? It's a lot. It doesn't hold up under its own weight, as they say.
Yeah.
It's a tad ridiculous in its own skin, and you can't help but laugh.
Terrible. I hated it. No, it's meh.
I didn't hate it. Meh. It's meh. Yeah, it's meh. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. It was meh. It got a 5 out of 10. And that was 3 5 out of 10s in a row. And Justin was in psychic pain.
Guess who who wrote the fucking story for this? Not the screenplay, mind you, but the story. Joseph Fraley, whose only other work was Silent Rage.
Oh my god. Okay.
So it's like, wait a minute. He got something right with Silent Rage. And in this, it's just goddamn.
It is notable that Chuck Norris's character here is the same one in Expendables. This is a prequel to Expendables. I had to let my cat out cover for me.
All right. Well, this movie, Silent Rage, I would give A 5 out of 10. It's again, it suffers from being dull. We just chose a lot of dull, bland as fuck movies this night, and I felt bad about it because I was hoping some of them would be good, but it just none of them were. Bland movies that night.
Yeah, 3 in a row. And so Justin decided to save the night by doing Jurassic Park, which I don't think we can actually literally give any information that people wouldn't already know.
Yeah.
I have nothing to add to it. It's a 9 out of 10 movie. It's great. It's a Titan. Yada, yada, yada. Next up, one of my new favorites, The Connection from 1961. And I believe it is one of the, if not the first, found footage films.
Yeah, that was a very interesting movie. That's like set in a drug den or whatever. What city was it in? Did they mention it all? I can't remember.
I don't think it matters.
It felt like a European city.
It's New York. It's something like that. It's definitely like that. It's not Europe. It's definitely America.
For some reason, it felt European. Maybe it was just the fact that it feels like a new wave movie in a way, you know, and it
Yeah.
comes from that era of the new wave too. But yeah, so it is cinema verite in that it's like, you know, a cameraman following people around doing documentary style footage. But it's set basically in a drug den, in a fucking shitty apartment where there are just a bunch of people hanging around waiting for the guy with the drugs to show up and give them drugs. That's what it is. But you get to see, you get to learn about all these different characters and their place in this world or lack thereof, um, and you know how they handle their shit, so to speak, while also being addicted to certain drugs. So yeah.
The premise here is that this director, who we see in the movie, talking to the musicians who are also the drug addicts in question.
Great music, by the way.
Oh yeah, there was a great segment with music playing. They did played some freeform jazz. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know genres. Anyway,
It was jazz, yeah.
thank you. I don't know genres, whatever. And the premise is at the very beginning that Shirley Walker, is that who did this? Shit. Sorry, I can't remember. I want to get the director's name right. Shirley Clark, excuse me. Shirley Clark simply found the footage of the thing because the director in the film is intending to make a documentary about what? I don't remember. He mentions in the film it seems like a lame excuse. Excuse me. It sounds like I shouldn't use that word. It sounds like a half-baked excuse. Trying to eradicate certain words from my lexicon. Half-baked excuse to film these people. So it's interesting. So this started life as a stage play. This is how they chose to adapt it. It's a combination of lockdown camera and also handheld camera. And at one point, the lockdown camera gets picked up and carried. And so you actually see, so there's a nice, it's not a dolly, it's actually someone walking with the camera across the room. Mm-hmm. It's actually really, I fucking love this movie. 7 out of 10 because there's some bits of dialogue that just kind of didn't work, and there's some pacing issues, but overall, really, really like this movie. I bought it on Blu-ray well before we actually watched it, just because it was one of the earliest found footage films. I still got to get Punishment Park, which is another one of those early found footage films.
And this is the kind of movie that I feel like everybody should see at least once. If you're a film buff, if you're a movie fan, this is probably one movie that you should at least see once because
oh, absolutely,
it's
important. It's an important piece of film.
Yeah, and I feel like it's enriching in a way that once you see this, you'll have things to compare it to, and it'll enrich your understanding of
Understated.
film. Yeah. Ugh. And I don't know necessarily that this movie inspired any others that I can think of right off the top of my head, but like it's
Sorry.
definitely one that has the potential of having been inspirational. Pardon. And there are a lot of unique aspects to it that are not the kind of thing that you would have expected a filmmaker to do at that time. Like that, it's really important to understand the time period that this made it. 1961, the new Hollywood is fucking 7, 8 years away at this point. There's nobody in Hollywood that's like okaying this shit. In fact, this one got held up quite a bit, I think. Um,
Problems with censorship.
yeah. And like 1961, the big movies at that time for Hollywood, the ones that they were focusing on were like fucking musicals and shit, you know? Like they were just saying at that point, they're saying, okay, we're finally done with the film noir. We're not going to do any more film noir. Um, we're the sci-fi movie, uh, that's something we want to get into, but at the same time, it's like this is low art. It's for B movies and stuff like that, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So they there were a few Hollywood produced horror movies and sci-fi movies at that time, but
So,
not nearly as many as like the B movies from the B companies and whatnot.
this appears to be the first mockumentary slash documentary slash found footage film because those two genres are tightly linked. They're basically they're the found footage slash mockumentary. We could split them apart, but they're really subgenres of the cinema verite as it is like
Mhm.
little like grandchildren. Um. But there's another film called Kairaku no Hoshu Akuma from 1964, which I don't know as a documentary or what. There's no information that I could discern about the format. And then what we're going to watch probably this upcoming weekend, Dave Holtzman's Diary from 1967, and then you have Punishment Park, and then you have Legend of Boggy Creek, which is an infamous fake documentary.
I've
We've
heard
got a
that
few
one.
other small films, and then you have Cannibal Holocaust. And after Cannibal Holocaust, there's kind of like a mini explosion. They all just start. It's like every year there's more and more and more and more. It's like exponential for a while there. More and more and more found footage until you hit fucking Blair Witch, and it's a supernova. So it's like do boom. Like there's Blair Witch becomes a hit, and there's a million found footage films now. So interesting.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of them I really want to see, and hopefully I can find copies for us to watch because I eventually want to have seen most of the most important found footage films at least. Well, I'd love to see all the foundational stuff up to Blair Witch because all of that leads up to that, you know. And the thing is supplements for Blair Witch also were made in mockumentary styles, so it's like literally a film that spun off this whole series of media. I recommend the Burkittsville Second Seven documentary and the Curse of the Blair Witch documentary. Highly recommend both of those. They're mockumentaries set in the universe of the movie. All right. Do you have anything to add to the connection?
Oh, I think I've said pretty much everything that I wanted to say. Hello?
Yep. Sorry, you asked me a question. I gotta ask the question. I just failed at multitasking. What?
Oh, okay.
What happened? What did you
No,
ask me?
you asked me
Oh,
if I had
fuck.
anything else to say, and I said no,
Oh. Mm.
and then you just left it hanging.
Oh, sorry, bro. I'm a little frazzled, dazzled.
Okay.
Next we watch McCabe and Miss Miller. You have a lot to say about this, so
Oh yes, McCabe Mrs. Miller, Robert Altman. Uh, I think probably one of my favorite of his movies.
But you haven't seen the
Um,
player and you haven't seen Shortcuts yet.
yeah, so I still need to see more.
And I
But
still haven't seen some of the ones you've seen, so we'll have to make sure you each see them.
I at some point when we move in together, I'm going to have to sit you down to watch McCabe and Mrs. Miller again, but with the commentary from Robert Altman,
Okay.
because it's quite enlightening as to like his approach to filmmaking and stuff like that, and how he, I mean, the new Hollywood really was pretty fucking big in terms of just filmmakers saying, well, why don't we try doing things this way instead? You
It's
know
a
what I
great
mean?
time for experimentation. Plus,
Yes.
studios were giving
So much
money,
experimentation.
and
Yeah.
studios were giving money to artists to make movies, and so they're being able to have big funded movies.
Yeah.
You know, with large budgets at the time, at least, to make them with.
So this is
So they
a,
could do revolutionary shit. You know.
yeah, this is a revisionist Western set in the Northwest. Um, and even at one point, there's like a fucking gunfight in the middle of a fucking snowstorm,
Oh
which is
yeah.
something I can't even think. I can probably, you could probably, I will say, you could probably list off the amount of movies in which that's the case
Yeah.
on one
Hateful
hand.
Eight, The Silence,
Like,
The
yeah,
Great Silence. Excuse me.
there aren't that many westerns where there's a big
There are
gunfight in the middle of a fucking
probably,
snowstorm,
I could
you
say
know?
there's probably a good 20 of them out of the, what, 2,000 to 10,000 westerns that may exist. I don't know
Yeah,
how.
yeah,
I don't know the exact number of westerns. I'm kind of ballparking
yeah.
here.
So like it's not a very common thing to see in a movie. The Jesus, someone's playing a horror game. Uh,
Uh,
the soundtrack, the music is all done by Leonard Cohen. Um, and it's the kind of music that's like it's not really Western music, right? It's not the kind of music you would expect from a spaghetti or European Western at that time, and it's not the kind of music you would have expected from a Hollywood Western either. It is more in line with like uh fuck, what's the there's another Western that came out at that time, and a very popular pop song came from that Western. Um, but I can't remember the name of it, the name of the movie. But like that was something that was happening a lot at that time, where they were putting all these westerns out in the early '70s that were like, and this came from the early '70s, that had the music that was out of place for the
very much so.
1800s period that it's set in.
That being said, the song they were singing actually is period accurate. It was just a more modern version of it, clearly.
Yeah, it is a song that's what kind of a genre is it? Like a folksy kind of a
It's a folk song.
song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a folk rock kind of a song almost.
I mean, that's the thing.
It's the kind of song.
It was a folk rock song of a traditional song, a traditional
It's
folk
Leonard
song.
Cohen. It's Leonard Cohen, but it very much sounds like Leonard Cohen trying to be or trying to sound like Bob Dylan, which is
Yeah.
interesting because you see Bob Dylan in another Western from that same period.
What was that one?
Oh, Billy the not Billy the Kid. What's
Okay, I'm gonna look it up. Bob Dylan.
we've watched this movie before. We've seen it.
I'm sure.
We're big fans of this
Pat
movie.
Garrett and Billy the Kid. That one. Yes.
Pat Garrett and Billy.
Did we watch?
Pat
We
Garrett
didn't.
and
We
Billy
still have to
Kid,
watch
yes.
the TCM cut. No, we watched the TCM cut. We still have to watch the other cut. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, the point there being that it's a it's something that was happening at that time with westerns. They had a lot of music from popular rock artists at that time, but in this case, it's a song that is a folk type of song that could have existed at the time that the in the period in which this movie was set. But it's so in a way it kind of works for it, but in another way it's like it's just not the kind of music you would expect to hear in a Western. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So there's very much about this movie that's not what you would expect to see in a Western. And one of the more notable things that happened with this movie is that it was exposed. They exposed the
Yeah.
film.
They flashed the film. It's technical
Mm,
flashing, where you very briefly expose the film before you film it with it, and only slightly, so that it gives a foggier, like rougher texture to it than
yeah,
the normal film at the time.
it looks very soapy.
I
Is
don't like it.
how I would describe
I officially
it.
don't fucking like it.
You don't have to like it, but
It's a wonderful film, as in like it's a very well made film. I very much enjoyed it, but it's just
yeah,
I just like I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the intended style was off putting for my brain. But like the
hmm
characters are really compelling. I mean, like really compelling because you want to like a character, but they're all just bastards. They're all just the worst fucking people.
everybody in this movie is an asshole.
It's literally I was talking to Jess. I'm like, this movie could just fit right into the Deadwood universe. It's in the set in the
hmm
same universe with that and Hell on Wheels. Like those, that's so far as the connected universe, and I will have no one to say otherwise because those are in the
I
same universe.
I feel like
Head canon is the only canon that matters. Always remember that.
Deadwood would not exist without this movie. I feel
Hundred
like
million thousand a billion trillion %, and Pat Garrett and the Billy Kid, and
yeah,
and the Wild Bunch, and like a bunch of these revisionist westerns that came before it.
weapons. Yeah,
But yeah.
it's a great or not neo, but a great revisionist western.
Speaking of which, find your copy of Frank and Jesse and let's watch that shit already. Your DVD, Frank and Jesse, that movie.
Oh yeah, I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I gotta go find that. Keep your eye out for it and pull it out when you see it. Basically,
All right,
look for it when you get at some point. At some point, because we gotta watch that. And I'm having that hankering to watch that for a while now, and I can't find a copy, so we have to watch our DVDs. I think. What am I doing? The wrong direction. I'm over here. Yeah, I gave McCabe and Miss Miller 8 out of 10.
yeah, I think that's a fair score for it. I don't know if I give it a 9 out of 10, but
I think you did.
yeah, yeah, 9 out of 10. I think it's probably yeah.
Next up, one of my favorites. You see, me and Werner Herzog share birthdays. We were both born September 5th, different decades, but it doesn't matter. He stars in this movie called Incident at Loch Ness, in which this documentary crew goes with Werner Herzog and on trying to talk about the myth. Werner Herzog's intended documentary is to talk about the myths of like Nessie and how human minds have crafted this
Loch Ness monster.
Yeah, yes, the Loch Ness monster, and that human minds and mythology has crafted this this like cryptid thing in the zeitgeist, and that's what Werner Herzog wants to make. And then the director of this movie actually stars as a director of another, as a producer, when he wants to make a movie. It's a horror film, and so they're both trying to do the same film about Nessie at the same time. And then the real Nessie shows up. I'm not spoiling anything that isn't in the trailer. And chaos ensues, and it is nobody's likable in this movie for a reason, including Werner Herzog's the only likable person. And he's still an asshole.
Which is amazing. It's like, how many movies can you say that about? Where Werner Herzog is the only likable person.
Yeah, right? Like, damn.
He's the only one who comes out looking like somebody who you'd want to hang out with for a day or
At
something
least
like
hear
that,
his stories and I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, I would say this is a fairly low budget film. Some people would call this sci-fi level, but this is actually better than your average sci-fi movie by a long shot. This did air on sci-fi, so people do associate this with sci-fi films. This is not a sci-fi film. I think it's actually by Rogue Pictures, a separate production company,
Mm.
and not the people who do Maneater Productions or whatever, who do all those monster movies for sci-fi. Well, a bunch of which I want to see because some of them are actually good by accident.
Yeah, this is like a found footage style movie. And
Yeah, it's like,
actually quite good.
yeah, exactly.
Um, and you get a chance to see Werner Herzog playing himself. Not only that, though,
Oh
there's
yeah,
also a scene where we see like him having a dinner party, and the guests that he invites to his dinner party are so interesting. You got Jeff Goldblum there, you got Ricky Jay there.
Crispin
There,
Glover.
Crispin Glover shows up.
Imagine being in a room
Yeah,
with those three people and Werner Herzog. I'd be like,
right.
huh, well, huh, yeah, hey. It's like a bunch of people I just like. I've grown up like loving like the art they created, and it's just like fuck. It's like
Yeah,
what the
we were
hell?
saying that they need to take the footage from that dinner party and release just that footage as Werner Herzog's Thanksgiving. And
Yep.
then every Thanksgiving we can watch Werner Herzog's
I just
Thanksgiving
want to hear. I just want to hear them sit around while
with Jeff
eating,
Goldblum.
talking about how good the food is, and talking about whatever nonsense they're gonna talk about.
Yeah.
I wish I want to sit there like a fly in the wall.
Um, I really like this movie, and I felt like
I love this movie.
I thought it was very interesting that literally like a day or two before she decided that we were going to watch this, they like the scientists literally announced, actually, we have evidence that the Loch Ness monster could exist today. And I was like, the fuck, really?
There's a little trumped up what's the word I'm looking for? Clickbaity title. It's not quite that.
No, but I
It's
read
that
it
they
though, and
found
it's
bones of fossils that belong to the same type of
yeah,
dinosaur shape as that would be the Loch Ness monster. So it's possible
yeah, and they're
someone
saying
saw a
it's
fossil
possible.
and inferred that that thing was real and alive in the lake, and that's how rumors start, right? Stories
Or
spin
that
out.
it existed in that lake at some point.
Before, yeah, modern era.
Now, I don't necessarily believe that it did,
Mm-hmm.
or that that anybody who has ever told stories about it was being, well, maybe some of them were being honest, but they just didn't realize what they were seeing. But whatever the case may be, it's like, no, I don't believe in the Loch Ness monster, but I do think it was. I just found it very interesting that that report came out
Mm-hmm.
about the Loch Ness monster just days before we end up watching this movie.
But yeah, I looked it up while we were watching the movie because I'd seen this movie a few times before, but they've been years since I last saw it. This was interesting. So, I was given a lecture by I watched a Gary Wrath of God. This is what happened. I watched Gary Wrath of God, which is Werner Herzog film starring Klaus Kinski as a Gary, the great conquistador, whitewashed into a German guy who's drunk out of his mind. And he's like, it's about his like delusional trip down the river while he's fucked up on drugs that he didn't know he was poisoned by or whatever. Fucked up by dysentery. Yada yada yada. A lot of things happen in that expedition. So it's about that. Agree the Wrath of God. And I went from that. We did a screening at Film Society for that. I was talking to my roommate Tony, who ran Film Society, and he's telling me stories about Werner Herzog because Werner Herzog went and did a lecture at his more than one lecture over the years at his previous college. He went to a college in another state, and he's like, "Oh wait, have you seen Incident at Loch Ness? Because I know you like found footage films." And I was like, "Nope." And he's like, "Well, we got to go watch that." So we took us back to the house, and like at midnight we threw on fucking Incident Loch Ness and watched it, and I was just like, "This is a great movie. It's awesome. It's so good." I don't even own a copy of it. I need to buy a copy of it. So yeah, love the movie. 7 out of 10. I gave it a heart
7 out of 10,
favorite. It's
yes.
one of my favorite found footage films. Then we watched Lost World Jurassic Park. Once again, what more could we ever say about this movie?
I mean, we just saw Jeff Goldblum at Werner Herzog's dinner party. We had to
Yeah,
follow it up with more
that's
Jeff
true.
Goldblum.
Is that why you picked it?
No, I picked it
Oh.
because we had watched Jurassic Park, and I'm like, this is a good one to follow it up with.
Across
'Cause
110th Street was
kinda-
next.
I think that might be the best movie. Even I personally, I like McCabe Mrs. Miller a lot, but I think this might, in fact, be the best movie we watched in the past 3 weeks. Across 110th Street is so fucking good. It's
Well,
so fucking good.
I rated 9 out of 10 just like Mikey and Nicky. And Mikey and Nicky picked it out for me.
Oh yeah. It's a tough one because
But
as many fucking lame blah movies as we watched this past 3 weeks, we did at least have a few that were just fucking bam,
so good.
really fucking good.
We've been like a pendulum, violently swinging back and
Yes.
forth in quality.
Just waiting for that one big hit, you know?
Yep. So yeah, Crossing 110th Street is a neo-noir crime cop drama from 1972. Stars Anthony Quinn, Yaphet Kotto, Anthony Francisco, a whole bunch of other people. Like a whole bunch of people. Like a lot of character actors. Burt Young's in this. Keith. No, different character, different person. Yeah. There's a few other people who I recognize but don't recognize their names because anyway.
There's a bit of a political drama aspect to it as well.
Oh yeah.
Because they're showing how politics is influenced and influences the police force and the mafia as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is a big part of the story. So yeah, that's one of the things I liked about it the most because it has like an honesty about the world and the people who are upheld as like the purveyors of justice or whatever the fuck, and yet they're literally essentially pawn, depending on what time it is, either pawn or puppets of people much higher up than them, bigger than them. That's I think I would say part of the thesis of the movie at least.
Absolutely.
And Yaphet Kotto does fucking
He's
fantastic.
incredible. He's
Oh
an
my
incredible
God.
actor. He's so fucking good. He's so good. He's so good.
It's like we just recently watched In the Heat of the Night, and this has very much that same kind of feel of it.
I like this one better than that one too, but I didn't think that's a great
depiction
movie
of-
too. So
Yeah. In terms of its depiction of racism and of the police in general as well.
mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah.
This to me feels like a must watch again. It's another like you definitely need to watch this movie.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's really terrific. Got incredible writing, incredible acting. It's like aces all around. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be Yaphet Kotto's best role.
That's a strong opinion. There are a lot of other movies he did, but I mean, you might be right. You might be right.
What else compares with it outside of? What else compares with it?
I can't even. Like, now that you mention it, it's like, well, I loved him in Alien, but he only plays a very small role in Alien. And this one he plays a much bigger,
important role,
and I would say much more important role in this one as well. So, like, yeah, it's like most people know him from Alien, but it's like, I don't know. This might be better than
Bone might be a one that changes my mind. I haven't seen it yet, and he was also in what was the other one? Report to the Commissioner, another cop drama from 1975. That might change my mind. I don't know. I have to like watch them, right? I can't make a decision.
Yeah.
Without having seen it, but I have a feeling this might be his best movie. Not in a bad way, but as in like this is why you need to see this. This is why this is just one of those movies that like you go, why didn't Yaphet Kotto star in more movies?
Yeah.
Yamamoto should have never struggled
Fukano.
to. I'm sure he struggled to get roles. He should have never had to struggle. He should have been offered roles every year
Mhm.
by the dozens because he's such an incredible actor.
Yeah, and it's just like he fucking stares people down in a way that few other
He's
actors do.
intense.
He's very intense. He's got, to me, the way I think of it is like he's got the same kind of intensity. I mean, not exactly the same, but like as Samuel L. Jackson. And I feel like if he had started acting later, like when Samuel L. Jackson did, it'd probably have had more opportunities. But like
Hmm.
because of the time that he started acting, and it was still very closed off to
It
African
was.
Americans at that time. So
And it was a
yeah,
shame. He should have been in everything. He should have been in everything. Like, everything. He should have been the
yeah,
star of a lot of things that he didn't get a starring role of.
hmm,
I mean, he's better than most actors in that era, period. Like, he's so fucking good. He was just clearly never given, like, the true shine. Like, the true. As
yep,
in, it's a carny term. It's like a. You know what I mean? Like, not in, like, it's like a. It's like he didn't give it the rub. You know, he didn't get he didn't get like you know like when you put two wrestlers together and it's like one's a lower card guy and one's a higher card guy and they wrestle, the lower card guy goes up in rank the minds of the people if he can almost beat or beats that guy. It's
yeah,
getting the rub, you know. He never
hmm,
for some reason the Kodo never got the rub from whoever to get a
yeah.
role that he muchly deserved and should have been in, and that's
Well, I'm
heartbreaking to
sure.
me.
Well, I'm sure that he did get certain in some situations like the roles that he was given in some cases. I think like he wouldn't have had that opportunity if it weren't for somebody giving him the rub, so to speak. But it's just like
In the
again,
minds of the people,
if it
though,
was a
he never,
different,
you know,
yeah, if it
you
was
know,
a different time and place though, like that rub would have been more powerful, would have had more of an effect. It would have
right.
put him into
I bet different
bigger
category in
starring
the
roles.
eyes of
Yeah,
the audience of the public. You know,
yeah,
it's about the perception. It's not about the actual quality or your who you
yeah,
actually
yeah,
acted with. So, public perception never changed on him beyond he was the extra character in a lot of movies,
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and he deserved a lot better than that. But, well,
definitely.
I have no interest in talking about Venom, so it's like
Yeah, Venom
I
was
got
meh.
nothing.
It's okay.
I got nothing to add to it. It was okay. I didn't fucking hate it.
The fucking dialogue was fairly cheesy at times. Laughably cheesy at least once. Really
I will
bad.
say the best movie I probably saw in the last couple since the last episode is probably Kubo and the Two Strings though.
Ah,
The last 35 minutes of that movie I was crying the whole time. It was such a good
you
fucking
think
movie.
that's even better than The Connection? That's even better than Across 110th Street? I mean, I like it
None of
too.
those movies made me cry.
Cuba and the Two Strings. Oh, yeah.
None of those made me have that kind of a reaction.
There's something
Mikey and
about a movie
Nicky's the
that
only
has
thing
the
that
power to
compares, I
make you
think.
cry.
Mikey and
Yeah,
Nicky didn't make me cry, but it did give me powerful emotions. And I think about
yeah,
that movie a lot. I mean, maybe Mikey and Nicky should be the one I choose, but I mean, Kubo really fucking deeply affected me.
yeah.
So
That's like the moment you said that, when I mentioned that it made you cry, I was like, because there is a fucking reverence that we should have for a movie that has the power to make you cry,
that's an intense emotion.
that has the power to make you have such an
Jesus.
intense emotion that you are like physically reacting to it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like it's Mikey and Nicky and Kubo and the Two Strings are the two movies that made me physically react to the movie.
Right on.
I remember
We're the
squirming in my
first to do
seat
this.
during the Mikey and Nicky though. Like it's like I didn't want Cassavetes' character to die. I didn't want Nicky to die, even though he's a shitlord, because he's got these redeemable qualities, and you just want him to reform and be a good person.
Yeah.
But he's like he knows his end is nearing, and so he's fucking manic and going and losing his shit and becoming even worse. All his worst traits are bubbling to the surface. You know, and now no one
Mm-hmm.
wants to help him in his most needed time because he let his trauma and his hurt and his anxiety and his like this energy build up to the point where no one wants to touch him, like he's a bomb, and then he goes off.
Yeah. And it almost feels like in that story, it almost feels like that couldn't have happened any other way. It's almost like it was his destiny.
He knew
And
it.
it's so fucked up. So
It's like he
fucked
saw
up.
the Reaper coming for him, and it just didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was like a freight train, you know. He couldn't like avoid it in
It's not
time.
necessarily a happy story. It's not a happy story.
It's not a movie about happiness. This is a movie about
Yeah.
separation and loss, and how we bury people before we've ever actually put them in the ground. Sometimes when it comes to like friendships and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, anyway, thank you everybody for stopping by and watching our show that lasted way longer than I expected. And once again, we went 2 hours. We'll see you when we see you. Hopefully, it's in 2 weeks. We'll see. Bye, everyone.
Bye.